It's August 10, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn. Today, once again, I'm aboard my 1972 Allied Princess 36 Sequester. And today, I want to talk a little bit about the end of sailing. Yesterday, I talked about ways to extend your sailing years a little bit by making changes to how you use your boat and to the boat itself. But eventually, as you get older, you will reach a point where sailing just isn't physically possible anymore. You just, become too infirm, too unstable on your feet, or something like that, or your partner does, to sail. And at that point, you have to make a decision. Are you going to give up sailing completely, sell the boat, and switch to all land activities? Are you going to sell the boat and maybe buy a power boat? That's one option. A lot of people do that. Or are you going to do something else? And there are some other options that you can pursue out there. And I thought I'd talk about those three options. We'll start with selling the boat and just transitioning to land activities. Now, depending on when you decide that it's time to quit sailing, you might still be physically capable, and your partner might be physically capable, of doing some things on land. One possibility is that you buy an RV, a travel trailer, a motorhome, something like that, and you travel around and you probably can get a few years in and go see different sorts of things than you were seeing on the water. Now you can go to national parks and basically see the country. And that's not an unreasonable possibility. I know a fair number of people who have done that. And when you're finished, you can sell the RV and move on to the next phase of your life. Or you can just transition to just local activities. Like where I live, right next door to Acadia National Park, I could spend more time in the national park. Probably not in the summer, because this place is horribly crowded in the summer. But certainly I could spend more time in the winter because I won't have to work on the sailboat if I sell it. And I could also just travel. I could drive back to where I'm from on the West Coast and visit there, or I could even fly or take the train. Lots of options, lots of things to do. And the people we bought the boat from were aging out, and they switched over to playing golf. And bought a place in Florida to supplement their place here, and they came here in the summer, played a lot of golf, went south to Florida, and played a lot of golf down there. So, there are lots of options left. You don't just stop when you sell your sailboat. Now, the other possibility I mentioned was buying a power boat. And here's one that you might want to consider right here. Just kidding. But you can buy a power boat. Doesn't have to be a huge power boat. And this is maybe a little bit more realistic power boat. And in fact, the people that own this boat are in their late 70s. That is a Dyer 26. Nice little boat. And that's going to allow you to still be on the water, but with a lot less effort. And while you're underway, you can be sitting there in a comfortable chair. A lot, and out of the sun, which is something that's important to my wife. And and another thing about a power boat is, depending on what you buy, you could buy one that can go faster than a sailboat, which will allow you to go places that maybe you haven't been in a long time. For example, I would love to go back out to Mount Desert Rock. There's a lighthouse out there. It's really quite a neat lighthouse. but it's 25 miles offshore, so going out there and back is a 50-mile round trip. That's at least an 8-hour day on this boat. And right now, that just isn't going to happen. And I suspect I'm not ever going to take this boat out there again. But maybe, who knows, but probably not. But if I had a 15-knot boat, it would be a little over a 3-hour run, and that is certainly doable, particularly in a boat that doesn't take much effort to operate. And that, I could go a lot of places like that, and that would be something I personally would really enjoy. And if the boat has reasonable accommodations, you can stay aboard and travel quite a bit to see a lot of the area that maybe you haven't seen for many years on your sailboat because you pulled back on longer distance cruising. So that's an option. You can open up a lot of opportunities by switching to an appropriate powerboat. Of course, powerboats are in a size that you might like that can handle a little weather and slightly rough conditions. They're pretty expensive. You might end up having to plunk down quite a bit more money. But if you have, a reasonable savings and you've just sold your sailboat, so you've got some cash there, you might be able to say, okay, we're going to buy this powerboat, we're going to use it for 4 or 5 years, and we're going to sell it again. And so you might feel comfortable putting a fairly good-sized chunk of money into the powerboat with the intention of getting the bulk of it back when you sell the boat in just a few years. Because when you're your late 70s or 80 years old, you're probably not going to be keeping that powerboat for 25 years. Great on you if you can, but probably not going to happen. Now, the last option, if you live in the right place, which is something you could do here, is to go out and sail on day charter boats. 2 slips over from me, there is a Friendship sloop built in 1899 that takes out passengers for 3-hour cruises every day, all summer. Yeah, it's a little expensive. I think they're currently charging $95. But considering that, if you recall my video on the cost of owning a boat, this boat cost me the better part of $10,000 a year to own. I could go out on that charter boat 50 times and still be ahead. If it was just me, and if my wife went with me, we could go out 30 times, spend $6,000, and still be $4,000 up, and we don't have to worry about the boat. Big storm, it's not our problem. So you can go out on a day charter boat run by a captain. And you don't have to go out a lot, but you can get your on the water fix that way. And around here, that's easy to do. There are lots of day charter boats ranging from 1899 gaff rig sailboats up to some really beautiful power boats that you can go out on for not all that much money for 2 or 3 hours and just enjoy being out on the water. And the captain of the boat is responsible for operating the boat, and you don't have to worry about anything. So that's the other option that I was thinking about. Maybe you can't do that everywhere, but if you live in the right part of the world, you certainly can. Or you could combine traveling with going out on day charter boats. For example, if you lived down south in Massachusetts or someplace like that in the deep south, you could come up here to Acadia National Park for a vacation and go out on a day charter boat a couple of times. Best of both worlds. You get your travel fix and you get your sailing fix. And, you can enjoy it. Have a very nice time. So those are some of the things that you can do when you finally get to the point where you really feel that you have to let the sailboat go and move on. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to give up being on the water. But if you do, there are lots of other things you can do as long as you're still, reasonably physically capable. And, even as you get older, I have a good friend who's in his 80s now, and for his 80th birthday, he gave himself a North American train vacation. He loves trains. He took the train from Washington State across to the East Coast to New York, and then up and transferred over to the Canadian system and took the train from Toronto back out to Vancouver, British Columbia, and then back down to the town he lives in, where it's a 10-minute walk from the train station to his house. That's a small town, by the way. And he had a great time. He really enjoyed the trip, and it wasn't particularly physically demanding because he had his own room on board the train, and if he didn't feel like going to the dining car, they'd bring his dinner to him in the roomette. He had a really nice time and really, really enjoyed that trip, and it was a sort of dream trip for him. And but there are lots of things like that you can do as you get older and still enjoy life without a sailboat. Okay, I'm going to end it here. I could go on for a long time listing the kinds of things you can do, but I'll leave that to your imagination. So if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed and would like to see more of my content, at least get a notification of when I put something up, why don't you click that subscribe button and go hog wild, and also click the notification bell. Thanks for watching.